here.
And we're back.
Hello! Except I'm not recording myself yet, so... Hello prematurely, and I'll say hello randomly in a second.
I'll record myself once I become frustrated with assembling this 3D printer again tonight. Then you'll have my audio.
Okay, I guess I'll just deal with this audio for the moment.
Again, yeah.
Hello again!
Hi.
Alright, there we go.
So, yeah, we're back with Carl's route. Unfortunately, Matt had to tap out tonight, so we're going to have a replacement Carl tonight.
I'm no replacement. I'm just Carl.
Yes.
You're giving off just the right kind of energy. Keep it up, but don't get too excited.
What?
Alright.
What are you talking about?
Are you sure you don't want to come down? Carl lay spread out on his bed, game controller clutched in both of his paws. Game controller clutched in both of the paws that are thrown over his head against the pillow. Wow, that was hard for me to read. I'm dyslexic tonight. He offers me a glance, but returns back to his game. You were saying something, Carl?
What? No. Not yet, anyway.
Okay then, thanks, Carl. Good to hear from you.
Sure.
This time it's a new-looking open-world fantasy, and honestly, I'd much be rather watching him play than doing homework.
Yeah.
I just don't want to distract you, man. And you know how much help I am.
I frown. Well, it'd be more for the company than anything. Don't you want to look through the stuff too? Carl screws up his muzzle, as if contemplating.
I've seen most of it, dude. I wrapped up half the stuff in there.
Well, alright. I pause, but he doesn't say anything. It's clear he's not interested, so I have no reason to nag him. Still, it sort of hurts my feelings. My precious feelings.
You know,
Get hurt, bitch.
in romance movies where they're like, go to her, this is like, leave him be, but in that same tone of voice.
Wait, Alan, is this Carl's Route Tuesday?
No, it's Thursday.
Oh, we're going back in the basement again?
Yeah. Remember, we're trying to do our freaking homework assignment. We had that project and everything, and all like the stuff related to the projects down in the basement. Actually, it's in the crawl space, which is adjacent to the basement somehow in this house.
Was I here for Wednesday?
Yes,
check your memory.
Because you were you showed up for the later half of it. You missed the first half. Because that was the birthday party for Carl.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants literally none of it.
Mm-hmm. And Andrew voiced Andrew voiced Flynn for the first half. You voiced Flynn for the second half.
The best boy, Flynn.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, you can say Flynn's best boy, but Seth has some different feelings about Flynn after Flynn's Tuesday.
Flynn's awful.
Flynn's
okay until he's awful.
Actually, I just pictured Flynn in like a Geek Squad outfit.
Oh no, he would just yell at all the old ladies. Just trying to reboot your router. He'd fucking destroy them emotionally.
Well, because you said Flynn is the best boy, Flynn.
Flynn is the best boy.
So Flynn just is at Best Buy behind the counter. Hello, young man. Can you help me turn back on my laptop?
Just press the button, old woman.
Oh, but what button do I press?
It's the power one.
Oh. Is it this nice, bright, shiny button over here?
I'm going to end my life.
Oh.
Did you say you were going to end my strife? That sounds nice, dearie.
Yeah,
of course, in computer science.
Said that. Yeah.
The master's in computer science, and this is all the kind of job I could get. Oh.
Where's the part where Flynn now has sex with the old lady?
That's not happening. Flynn's gay.
That's grody. I would never do that.
That's fair enough. Let me rephrase this. When does Flynn start having sex with the old man that shows up? I don't know. Flynn's Tuesday bugged me.
He would have sex with whoever drove them there.
They probably wouldn't be that old.
Oh, man.
Oh, jeez. I feel bad for Carl.
Shit.
All right. As I make my way into the basement alone, I realize another reason why I would have appreciated Carl's company. The house is creepy as fuck. I've always been a bit of a... when it comes to scary things. I mean, once after I seen a scary movie about possession, I've been afraid to go to sleep for weeks, mainly because my nightmares can seem so real. It took almost a month for me to manage it without the lights on, and I was 18 at the time. So, this is part of the stuff that, like I mentioned, why like I empathize with Chase a little bit too much. I don't know if you know this, DJ, but I had always been not really great with watching horror movies that are like about monsters or the supernatural or anything. And it's when I see horror stuff that it like gives me nightmares for months on end. But like if I read it, I'm perfectly fine.
I was gonna say, Alan, you play horror games on a regular basis.
I know. The thing is though, it's seeing it and not having control that messes with me. So a game, I have control still. It's like, oh, I died because that was my fault. But with like a movie, I can't control it, and it like messes with my brain.
That makes sense.
And it's like the same thing with like a book. I can control when I flip the page. Like I'm not frightened. I don't get nightmares about like Junji Ito stuff because I can control when I flip the page or whatever, but I can't control how quickly the monster appears in the movie, you know?
That makes sense. One second.
Okay.
That makes sense, yeah.
Randall?
Yeah, it's like one of those weird things that like I recognize about my brain.
He refuses to work with you.
Yeah, pretty much. I do love horror as a genre. Horror movies for some reason, unless it's like a psychological horror with like with humans as the monster or whatever, it messes with my brain.
Real monsters.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like my favorite horror movie is The Shining, right, Andrew?
Yep.
I absolutely adore that. Even though there's like a supernatural element, and the reason why I adore it is because the ghosts can't do shit to the family. All they can do is just drive them slowly insane, and then it's up to the family to kill each other.
Mm.
You can either die, or you can be like the actress in Alien. Yeah, and go that way instead.
Wow, I'm
What's her
blanking
face?
on her actual name, but I know the character's name is Ripley.
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah. Yep.
Weaver,
I thought Sigourney Weaver, and I thought, no, clearly not.
That's why she's in. That's why she's in.
All the sequels.
And what's his name? Even Finding Dory.
Huh? Where does she appear in that?
She's the voice.
As a voice?
Yes,
Yeah.
she appears as a voice. She's like, I'm Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, okay then.
It's just like to make all the adults in the audience go, haha. It's funny because Alien.
Ah.
Hannah actually screamed when we watched that movie. It was great.
And now I mentally kick myself for remembering that movie while I'm down in Carl's creepy basement alone. Once I get to the crawl space, I do an awkward half run to the flood lamp that probably would have made Carl laugh his ass off. The crawl space is really fucking creepy. I imagine Carl sleepwalking down here, which I'm pretty sure is what happened last night, then waking up alone in the dark. I can understand why he was so freaked out. The sight of the plastic tarp at the bottom of the steps brings back memories of the tarantula as well. Shit. Now I have a good reason not to go down there at all. I still don't know if what I saw was real or was some kind of hypnagogic hallucination that my mind always seems so keen to throw at me. I scan the tarp. It's white and clean surface, free of any insects as far as I can tell. I shudder again before making my way slowly down the steps, eyes still darting around. Come on, you idiot. This is ridiculous. When I was younger, I used to have a problem where I'd wake up in the middle of the night and see spiders crawling up my walls. I'd scream and my parents would come running in to tell me nothing was there. My dad talked to his psychologist friend who told him it was normal, so we didn't do anything about it.
Brain Bunch, assess the situation.
Yeah,
Is it normal?
I've got a friend. He's a psychologist. Hey, you.
Okay, so children, like young children, can have hallucinations, and that can be okay. It's when they persist for a long period of time and cause distress that really they need to be further looked into. Which this sounds like something probably should have been further looked into, personally, but I also know more of the plot, so I can't really speak beyond that, so.
Second also, half Brain Bunch is currently taking out dog poop, so.
My goodness, you just gave something about psychology without first immediately saying this isn't, like, my actual field of study.
Yeah, well, that isn't my field of study, but here's the best part about that. That one's something they teach in Psych 102 about, like, what are the basic, like, things that you need to do to diagnose if this is actually a problem that they need to go and see someone for.
Mm-hmm. Well, all right.
So that's something anyone who's taken Psych 102 can look through.
GAF, General Assessment of Functioning, or something like that.
Yeah, it's basically like, does it cause distress? Does it cause them any like issues or anything like that? Is it a threat to themselves or others? Things like that.
Yeah.
There's like a couple other pieces of that I don't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, I feel like there's enough there with Chase having hallucinations and seeing basically spiders. They're causing him some serious distress since he has a phobia of them, that I would suggest getting that checked on. But either way, he says the hallucinations eventually stopped, so. They didn't come back until I took the night shift near my university's campus. After that, I started to get sleep paralysis, and about half the time, spiders are involved. My feet crunch their way across the tarp, back towards the tubs that I know are marked history. I stare at them for a second, remembering that 2 days ago, the tubs had been turned to have their sides facing the entrance to the crawl space. I clearly remember seeing them that way over Carl's shoulder, right before I saw the tarantula. Now they're turned so that their ends are pointing up toward the front. I frown, but the prickling feeling on my neck doesn't feel good, especially with me being alone down here. So I shove that to the back of my mind and grab the end of the bomb tub so I can start dragging it back towards the stairs. Sitting down and taking the lids off, I start sifting through the contents. Again, something isn't right. There are a few empty wrappers lying around among the artifacts, as if someone had unwrapped a few trinkets before taking them. I wonder if Carl decided to take a few things. God knows why he would.
Because candy's yummy.
Yes, this ancient candy, also known as a locket, a gun, a spigot, and a shoe buckle. Delicious candy, Carl.
You just pull the foil off, and it's chocolate inside. The brass foil.
Yep. I was going to say, if Carl was a goat instead of a ram.
Lols. Yeah, that's speciesist.
Speciest. Shun the speciest.
It's all Hannah's fault.
I remove those wrappers, 3 in all, and set them to the side before digging in further. This particular tub has a divider in it. As I start unwrapping things, I realize that one side is for the harder artifacts, like keys or knitting needles. The other has mostly paper items, like photos and documents. On the paper side, I see a thick folder labeled Biography of James Hendricks. My eyes widen. Now that would come in handy. Is this a book, or... As I open up, I find a bunch of loose papers inside. While it's clearly copy paper, it's old enough in its own right. I move back down to the tarp so I can start spreading the documents out, not wanting to lose anything. I'm breathing heavily at this point, hardly believing my luck. I've always had a really serious, intense passion for history. There are hundreds of pages, and I hardly know where to start. After a while, I begin to deduce what this is. Someone's been trying to write a book on James Hendricks. From what I can tell, it was Carl's mother, Trisha. Some of the documents were typed down on a typewriter, so this may have been started as far back as the 80s. Getting married, having kids, or kid, and running a company probably slowed things down just a little bit. I grin. While it's too bad that this might never see publication, Carl's mom...
It might never see publication, but you can always do the P word.
Plagiarize? Yeah, no, that's what's about to happen here. Carl's mom has no idea how much she saved my ass. On top of that, she's gotten all organized. It's almost like she's begging for this.
Plagiarize his Carl's mom's stuff.
So, here's the thing, is as long as he actually cites where he gets it from, that's fine. But the thing is, he's not plagiarizing her per se. And
it's not published.
Well, no, that's not the reason why I'm saying per se. It's because what he's doing is he's using the material that she collected. She hasn't wrote it down, at least. She's got an outline of things, organized like all the information, but she hasn't written the actual document. So what he's using her outline to go and sort through things to pick out the information that he needs. So he's basically using her literature review to build what he wants.
Using it against her, got it.
Without her permission, got it.
Well, I mean, he could always say, yeah, I was looking through the boxes. It looks like you're gonna be really accomplished one day. Can I use it?
Can I be accomplished today?
It's basically done. I just, where's the Control-C button?
Control-C the box. Control-V in your car.
That'd be too easy.
Where's the power jack? It doesn't seem to... It looks like the battery's dead. Also, how'd they get iPads this thin? As he waves a sheet of paper around.
How do you own so many iPads?
well, rich
people, they are
filthy
rich, so...
Yeah.
Man, it must be a pain in the ass to keep these things all charged. One divider indicates James Hendricks, while another marks Emma Hendricks, who I assume is James's wife. A few of them are filled with several names. Marilyn Smith, John Begay, Johanna Begay, Christopher Leeway. Finally, the last section of the binder is filled with dividers indicating dates. 1825 to 1852, 1852 to 1875, 1875 to 1878, and 1878 to 1891. I start with that, my fingers shaking a bit with excitement. As I start poring over Trisha's meticulous timeline, using my phone to take notes. I'm getting some feedback from somebody's mic right now.
Oh, sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. Just wanted to make sure what it was. James was born in 1825 to an immigrant family from Erie. Actually, it might have been Ire, but oh well. His family faced oppressive prejudice from the day they arrived in the country. Despite this, they managed to make a living with James's father becoming a plumber, a profession that mainly dealt with lead. His father, Martin, was abusive, even more so than was acceptable for the time, and James suffered greatly for it. The mysterious death of his 5-year-old sister, Martha, led many of the townspeople to suspect murder on the father's part. But this was never proven. James left home at the age of 15. He told his remaining sibling, Jane, that if he were able, he'd find a place for both of them to stay to escape their father. Not much is known about James Hendricks between 1840 and 1849, with Tricia assuming he simply job-hopped around the tri-state area. What is known is that James set out west in 1850 during the gold rush. Luck struck quick, with James finding gold in a quartz deposit in 1852. The first person James confided in the find was his only friend, John Begay. John was a native desert fox and would go on to become James's business partner. This comes as a bit of surprise due to John's many recorded instances of prejudice against the natives. With John's help, James officially laid claim to the mine before turning it into a business. While Echo was originally a small camp of less than 20 people, it became a mini boomtown. Over 2,000 people arrived within the next 3 years. Things went well for James after that. He became rich, built a mansion in Echo, and lived off the mine's seemingly endless flow of gold. He sent Jane, who was married with a large family at that point, a yearly sum of money. Meanwhile, no money was sent to his parents, who were living in deep poverty. He married Emma, a girl half his age, in 1860. They had 5 children: James, Thomas, Genevieve, Carol, and Martha. Things changed for James in 1875, though, when he was accused of sodomy with John Begay. The land being lawless at the time, John Begay was hanged by the locals. James was never convicted of the crime, likely because of his strong influence in the town. However, the ostracism grew to be too much, and in 1878, he left with his family to live in solitude on the West Coast. He quietly started a moderately successful ice cream business in the 1880s. It didn't grow into the regional juggernaut it is today until it was taken over by his grandson, Peter. He died there in his villa in 1891 from an unusual insect bite. I rubbed my eyes and checked the time. 3 hours have passed and it's already late in the afternoon. Apparently, Carl's game is so good he hasn't even bothered to come down and check on me. I sigh and gather up the few of the items. A pocket watch that what looks like a nugget of gold, and what I think is a stamp with a crest on it. I'll need to take pictures outside, considering how dim it is down here. I lay the items down on the adobe sidewalk that leads up to Carl's house. Deciding that this will make a much better, I'm adding in words. Deciding that will make a suitable background, I start taking pictures. Hours after the discovery of the binder, I'm still relieved. I was really starting to worry about how little time I had left, but Tricia's research has saved me hours of time. In fact, she pretty much laid everything out for me. I nearly jumped out of my skin and spun around, still clutching my camera. Behind me, I can see the window still rattling from the force of whatever had knocked on it. It's a basement window and a window well, though I can't see anything through it. It's too dark. I stare for a while, frowning. What the fuck was Carl doing? Why isn't he here to relieve me of having to say all these goddamn lines? Did he go back downstairs and somehow see me through the window and decide to scare me? I slowly gather up the artifacts back up and place them in my bag, keeping an eye on the window as I do. If he wanted to pull that shit then I could play that game too. The only problem is that Carl is in the basement. From what I can gather, it was the window next to the crawl space that was hit. Looking out, I can see the spot where I must have been standing. The chills return, and I shiver as I move back to the crawl space. It had to have been Carl, though I don't get why he would have stayed down here until I came back. Or why he wouldn't have stayed down here until I came back. I gather everything back up and start to place them back in the tub in the same order I had taken them out. And that's when I notice something. At the very bottom of the tub, a plastic baggie has been opened with its contents spilled out. I set down the binder, which I had been about to put away, and reach in, sifting through the spilled papers. They're newspaper clippings from the town of Baden. They're incredibly old, and I can't imagine this is the best way to preserve them. Either way, the fashion in which they're carelessly spread out across the bottom of the tub makes me wince. I don't remember leaving it this way. It makes me feel sick that I could have damaged any of it. Slowly, I push all the clippings back into the baggie, making sure to seal it tight after I do. From what I can see, nothing has been visibly damaged. I sigh before putting everything back in the tub and shutting it with the lid, making sure it's sealed tight. It's a shame that it's been so difficult for Carl's family to set up the museum. From the looks of it, some of this stuff isn't going to last much longer without proper preservation. Finally, I drag the tubs back and subconsciously taking note of exactly how I left them before heading back upstairs. When I get upstairs, though, Carl is asleep, refusing to say anything, because goddammit. His controller is still above his head, clutched in his paws, as if he fell asleep the moment I left. On the screen, his character is immobile, standing in the middle of some hut. A single NPC stands in front of him, walking back and forth. Every now and then, it stops in front of him, exclaiming, "What are you doing in my hut?" I reach out and place a paw on his shoulder, and then he immediately opens his eyes, snorting loudly. He sits up and rubs his face, snorting again as he breathes deeply, and that's when I tell him, "It's your fucking turn to talk." Never mind, I guess I didn't say that. Did you go downstairs?
What happened?
It's almost funny how utterly confused he looks. If he's acting, he's doing a damn good job of it. I heard some noises downstairs. Thought it was you.
No, I don't think so.
Things were moved around, too. He takes in a deep breath before blowing it out.
I told you, man. This place is haunted. I wasn't joking.
We both look at each other for a moment. Finally, Carl breaks the awkward silence.
So, how'd it go, aside from the ghosts?
It went alright, just 3 hours and a bunch of research. He looks at me blearily.
Ah, shit. Seriously? I was gonna come down after a while, I just...
Fell asleep, yeah? Anyway, we were supposed to go out today.
Really?
Yeah, remember? You said so a few days ago. Carl looks around.
Well, what do you want to do?
I think as I drink. Don't you have an interview tomorrow?
Don't remind me.
Carl picks up his controller again, and I frown. Well, I was thinking we could go out and maybe get you a new look. Now Carl frowns, clicking away at the controller.
Or Carl.
Like what?
Well, your clothes for one. Do you have any dress clothes? You don't? Seriously? Have you ever had an interview before?
Well, yeah, it's just that I've, grown out of them.
Uh-huh. Well, we'll definitely need to get you some of those. I look at his beard thoughtfully. Maybe we should get you a more clean-cut look.
Yeah, lose the man bun.
Carl doesn't say anything and instead goes on frowning. I put a paw down on his controller, forcing him to pause. Come on, it could be fun. You can't stay in this house, in this room, forever. He finally does look at me then, his expression kind of sad. What's wrong? Carl looks away, then stands up slowly, his joints popping.
Nothing. If it makes you happy, then why not?
Great!
Just so you know, I'd rather just play some video games with you.
It's tempting.
Nope.
Just watching Carl play is a lot of fun, what with his style and commentary, but this is more important. It's not like this motherfucker could end up being a Let's Player or something.
A pro Let's Player.
Yeah. Oh man, he would be destroyed once he realizes that his best content is produced when he's sober.
Oh no!
I name myself something like XX your boy.
XX your
Dude,
RAM.
I would
XX
100% watch XX Boy's YouTube channel. I'm just saying.
I do love that.
I mean, I
XX
wouldn't.
boy.
He sounds actually really obnoxious. But as an ironic thing, like if XX Boy was being done ironically, yes.
Personally, I enjoy that XX boy has lived on beyond the friend lock. He was on screen alive for like, what, 10 minutes?
If that. I think that's what immortalized him, to be honest.
Yep.
I don't get the reference, but I'm glad you guys have created a new character.
Yeah,
He's
we can
amazing.
explain that at some point in the future, or you can watch the friend lock. That was episode 2 that he appeared and died in.
Yep.
Yep. Very quickly.
He was
Very
the
quickly.
best. He was the best. He will be missed.
I really want to help him out. Maybe later tonight. Let's get this done first.
As a reward.
So apparently your great-great-great-great-grandfather was accused of sodomy.
What?
Carl looks up from his phone, his muzzle wrinkling.
Sodomy is killing your brother, right?
DJ, do you
The
really
other
not
thing-
know what sodomy is?
Sodomy.
Sodomy was illegal for a long time. What was it, like the 70s or 80s? So if the cops accidentally broke into the wrong house while doing a raid and they saw a man having sex with another man, they get really angry because since they illegally obtained that information, they couldn't use it against you to throw you both in jail.
Wait. That's what sodomy is.
Yes, it's just
Okay.
Well,
like...
Okay, I can give you the exact
Sodomy
one
is-
because technically it didn't have to be gay, but it was usually used to prosecute gay. Because it's literally just involving, and that's gonna get bleeped to hell.
What?
Yeah, no.
That is
Really?
Sodom and
so
Gomorrah.
incredibly general.
Sodom
Yeah.
was basically committing sin because they were committing sodomy.
Wow. Okay. The more you know. Thank you all for this.
Wait, you didn't know what sodomy
This
was?
has been informative.
Well, I didn't even... Okay.
And
It's just,
helpful.
I was saying I did.
I just like... So,
I'm usually the one that doesn't
it's either,
know about these things.
I know it was something with sex.
I love that I, as the ace, knew that there was a little more to sodomy than the baseline.
This has been informative. And
what has me right
interesting.
now is it's either you hit a home run or you go to hell.
Oh yeah.
That's it. That's it. There's no in between. No kissing. That's not allowed. You hit a home run right now, mister, or you go to hell.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking wow.
Beautiful.
Either way.
I am, as I said, this has been informative, and I am so pleased.
Yep, with John Begay, who I am almost positive is related to Jenna, but I'll have to ask her.
Are you serious? How did you find that out?
He pauses.
Ask your
And
mom.
Maybe don't ask Jenna about that.
But Jenna is our mom.
Basically.
From what I can tell, your mom's trying to write a book. Carl strokes his beard.
Oh yeah, she is, isn't she? Well, was more like. I don't think she's worked on it in years.
From the looks of it, she started in college.
Damn. Well, I do remember her saying it stressed her out a lot, or something that happened to make her stop.
Carl seems to be thinking.
Actually, I think I remember her talking to my dad about how those old things freaked her out or something.
He shrugs.
But we've always said the house is haunted.
Carl's phone starts buzzing.
And speaking of Jenna, she's calling me.
Carl looks a bit perturbed, but he puts on a cheerful voice as he answers it.
Yo, whale ears.
Ah, that old name. As he listens to her response, I see his smile slowly slide off his face. I can hear the sharp, muffled tones of Jenna's voice, even though he's holding the phone on the other side of his face.
I don't...
I guess she cuts him off because he doesn't finish. I glare. Here, let me talk to her. The way Jenna acted yesterday, which isn't like her at all, is giving me a pretty good idea of what she's going off about right now. Carl doesn't give me the phone though, instead just staring out the windshield as we continue on the highway. Finally, he lowers the phone from his ear, then stares at the screen for a while. She hang up?
Yeah, said something about how Leo's depressed now and how us hanging out by ourselves isn't helping things.
I roll my eyes.
I'm not happy. Everyone, you're hanging out with
Leo.
that other guy you were supposed
Get
to be
out.
with
This
me.
is not your route. Go be depressed
Sorry.
somewhere else.
Okay. I'll go hide in a corner and cry and watch some otter.
Right.
You go hide in the corner, Leo.
By the way, out of breaking character here, I recommend if you really want to see cute otter videos, like check out Bingo and Belle the otters on YouTube. I've been watching a lot of their videos recently, and they're adorable.
It sounds
It is
awesome.
legit just pure serotonin for my brain right now.
Oh my
That
gosh.
sounds
Alan,
so
I'm
adorable.
gonna mute.
I'm
my
just gonna wait
phone
for you to
and
break
my
out of your...
phone
I just like
right now.
Anthos phase. I'm not a furry. I'm just gonna wait for it. It's gonna happen soon,
If
and you won't
I've
even realize
lasted
it.
this long, then I can last till I die.
Oh my gosh.
You know what? Fuck Jenna. She's been on one since Leo's day didn't go the way he wanted it to. Wow, I didn't say that right at all.
No, he's gonna fuck Jenna in a different route.
Shh. No spoilers. For some reason, she just wants to blame you.
What?
Yeah.
Carl looks out his window, so I can't really gauge the mood he's in. Listen, let's get something to eat first. I'll buy.
No, my parents are rich. I'll buy.
I can't exactly argue with that, so I don't. Also, I don't feel like I can leave it at that, so I hesitantly reach out with a paw and place it on Carl's shoulder. Seriously, let's have fun today, okay? Forget Jenna. He looks over at me and gives me a sad smile.
I'm fine, Chase. I just want to get this over with so we can go back and play games.
I sigh. Is that all you think about these days?
Hey, lots of people play games for a living.
Name one.
Roblo,
That's a sport.
still a game.
I grin as I hear that jokey playfulness back in his voice. Glad I'm able to take his mind off Jenna for the moment. Well, at least that keeps them active. Playing games all day will get you unhealthy.
That? If you didn't notice, I'm already there.
Well,
You're not that bad. I swear, you're mostly muscle.
Then I guess I got nothing to worry about.
But you should get out more.
Why? I've got entire worlds in my game.
I don't know. What about girls?
They're in games too.
Well, you can't exactly...
rude.
Well, you can't exactly touch a boob with your actual paws in the game.
I don't know. I swear they've got those in Anime Land.
Oh,
You know what I
Rude.
mean.
where's Sam to like
Already
get real
done it.
mad right
Not
now?
that great.
You a queer or something? Oh, wait, okay. You a queer or something? I say it with a southern accent.
Let's just say I don't label my sexuality.
I let that sit for a second. That's a pretty queer thing to say.
Guess I'm a pretty queer. Yeah, dude. Guess I'm a pretty
Yeah.
queer dude then.
Is that so?
Besides, until I'm able to see my hoofs again, I don't think any girls are gonna be after me.
Well, that's what we're doing right now. Trying to give you a new look, a fresh start. It'll boost your
Corset.
confidence and your appeal. You'll have girls and boys after you. Again, Carlo doesn't act very enthused about that. I tell myself it's only because he has to go out. Once we get there, I'm sure he'll cheer up. I swear, every store in the Peyton Mall is dark and covered in neon. Carl stands there awkwardly, looking around as if unsure about what to do. So, what kind of look do you want to go for? Carl looks at me like I'm
Please.
crazy.
Please let this be interactive. Please let this be Carl dressed up. Please.
Oh no, that needs to be a spin-off game. We're gonna let the people in Echo grab this. Do you hear us, Echo producers? Guys,
Echo
we
Project.
love your game. Also, we want to play Carl dress up.
It's so bad. Oh,
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna try on all the outfits.
I love that.
I would play it.
Oh my gosh. Seriously,
Like, but
dude?
you're like at a hot topic or whatever, so you can like goth Carl, suit Carl, muscle Carl.
I think I look
Sexy
pretty good
suit
with
Carl.
muscles. Yeah, maybe I should start working. Seriously, dude? I have no idea. You brought me here.
Just work with this for the next hour, and I promise we can go to the game store next. Carl makes a big show of sighing, but I assume the twitch in his ears indicates that he'd like that a lot.
Well, it's just stress clothes, so it shouldn't be that big a deal.
Carl's getting all secure the way he did during the surprise birthday party. kind of cute. Alright, so this is going to be a major... This is the side character for Carl's route. So each route has like their own side character who becomes somewhat important within the story. Basically, this character is a much lighthearted person. They are the comedic relief for Carl's route and everything. Who wants to be the comedic relief character?
I mean, you said Leo isn't in the rest of Carl's route, right?
Yeah, he is basically out from here out.
Cool, I'll do it then.
Okay.
What animal is he?
He is a husky.
Like a puppy?
Not a puppy, just a doggo.
I love it. Carl! Jeez!
That's Labrador. Huskies
Yeah,
are a little
fair.
bit more serious.
That is a Labrador. I have a lab, and that's become my dog voice. Fair.
The voice comes from behind me, and Carl sees over my shoulder or smiles over my shoulder before I turn around. Raven? The black and white two-tone husky is a few feet behind me, grinning.
How long has it been?
A week. Is this his dealer?
No.
Long, man. What are you doing here?
Family moved back in after Dad got fired. Now I work here. I could ask the same about you, Chase.
Oh, just on spring break right now. You work in a clothing store now? Raven laughs.
No, I'm a store down. I work at Game Central.
Carl perks up at that.
So you're still in school, huh? Well, it's great to see you.
Raven's accent is only slightly detectable now, the only noticeably foreign thing about him being his name.
Lols, it just occurred to me that now I'm playing not one but two Hispanic characters as not a Hispanic individual myself.
I don't think Raven is Hispanic.
What would he be then?
I mean...
Here, I'm not going to even put an accent on because I'd do an awful one and it'd
Yeah.
be nothing but racist,
is-
so let's...
Yeah, no, I assume that we shouldn't. I frankly don't know what country he's supposed to be foreign from. And like the thing is, it sounds like his family has immigrated to the US or the US equivalent within this world. So, and like they give like alternate names for a lot of the countries, so I do not know what each one is.
I won't do this, but I'll just be like Wanda and have a generically not American accent.
Pretty much, that would be it.
I'd say the one accent I know you can do is Cockney.
I mean, yeah, but it'd be really... Hold on a second. So what are you guys doing here? Getting clothes?
No, you limey Brit.
So the accent is not noticeable.
So what are you guys doing here? Getting clothes? There we go, that's less of it.
That sounds close to what I was doing for Cliff for the smoke room. Ah, yes, I'm slightly posh.
I don't know what that means.
If anything, I feel like Raven probably has like such a minimal accent that you can't hear it. Like, for example, my like, have you heard my mom talk at all, DJ?
I don't think I have.
I don't think either of us have met your mom.
Really? I feel like you would have met her at some point, Hannah.
I probably should have at one point, but I don't ever remember, like, meeting her.
Okay, well, I know that Andrew and Seb both have met my
Yup.
mom at one point or another.
Yeah.
So,
I was
spoken to
in
her
one of her
briefly.
classes where, okay, I won't say what she taught us to do because that the people may identify who you are, Alan. But
I'd be more worried about her own safety with that one.
oh, okay, well,
But yeah, the reason why I bring
so
her
tempted,
up
but I
is,
can't say it.
The reason why I bring her up is that English, if I'm doing my math right, English is her third language.
I am always very impressed by human beings like that.
Well, the thing is,
Yeah.
Andrew, Seb, could you have been able to tell that English was her third language?
No.
She had an accent, but I mean, people can just have accents, so whatever.
Really? See, the thing is, I've never been able to hear an accent from her voice.
It's been a while. Let's see. When I say accent, maybe I mean more like attitude.
There is an attitude, yes. I will fully admit, my mom has an attitude.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, hell, Seb remembers me like basically getting into like pretend fights with my mom at the middle of like the RSO fair, where she's like, can I have like one of these cards? And be like, no, get the hell out of here.
I was like, what?
Oh, you were like, what did you just say to my friend?
Oh, only like it took me like a minute to like, cause it's like clearly some like older woman walked up to the table. Hey, can I have one of these? I'm like, oh, it's such a nice lady. And then Alan's just like, no, fuck you. And I'm like, that's how I talk to my friends, not just random people.
That's beautiful.
It is like one of my favorite pranks to be able to pull on people who don't know that that's my mom. Because she always plays along. And she's like, I can't believe you would say something like that to me.
That is such a beautiful troll. I love it.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. How does she say water? Does she say water or water?
She goes water.
Okay. That might be a tip off. I had one of my professors was African. He had a strong African British accent that he was very proud of, and he loved to go on about how Americans didn't say English right with their words.
That's the glottal stop thing.
Yeah, and so that was like his big example. And so now whenever I hear someone say water, I always clue into that and just okay, whatever.
Oh, I need to mess with you now.
Would you like some water?
Water. Because I would say water.
I do want to get back to this soon, but I have one thing I want to say about the glottal stop, which is always my favorite thing that I've learned about it. So I learned about it from SMBC or Saturday Morning Breakfast Cereal Comics, and
oh, so good.
They mentioned the glottal stop in there. And basically, the way that it works for people who don't know about it before is that the proper way to say it is to have the T sound. So you can actually learn it from the word glottal. So if you say it glottal, that means you're speaking proper British English. If you say it glottal with D's instead of T's, then you're speaking with like the American accent. And then if you drop like it completely and go glol, that is closer to Cockney instead.
Go,
dude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It would be good, wouldn't it?
Dude, I had to, when I was working and doing a job in England, I had to work with a couple of guys, and I'm pretty sure no one knew what they were saying, but they kind of just got the gist and like where they looked, and they just worked it out. Because otherwise, it's I don't know what he says. Like he's just saying hello. Like, okay, hi. I mean, maybe I'm just too far gone, and this is my loss. I don't know.
Okay, well, the reason why I brought that up is at the end of the comic, they brought up the best example of this. Because the glottal stop doesn't have to be double T's. It's basically a T next to any other consonant. And so the best example of that is Batman. Because it's not Batman. We don't pronounce it properly. We pronounce it as Badman if we're not paying attention.
Yeah.
No, think about that. Every time we hear Batman spoken with a proper, like, American accent for that, it's, oh no, it's Batman!
It really is Batman.
I'm gonna watch some Batman.
No one knows what it's like to be a bad man.
Alright, so Raven, you said this line already, right?
Did you see it?
Yes. So what are you guys doing here? Getting clothes?
Yeah, for Carl, actually. He has an interview tomorrow. For some reason, Carl ducks his head at that, and through his ears, I can see him blush deeply.
Oh, really? It's about time.
But his tail would wag. His tail would wag.
I mean, I have had a job before.
So what kind of look are you going for?
When Carl doesn't answer, I speak up. That's what we were trying to figure out just now, actually. Carl shrinks further into himself, his hat seeming to fall further over his eyes.
Dude, it's just dress clothes, really.
Well, I think you should get a red tie, at least. Might go good with your eyes. And maybe trim that beard?
Since when are you a fashionista?
Come on, Carl. Let's at least try it out. Carl sighs, rubbing his forehead.
Okay, fine. But only as long as we're out of here in the next hour.
Hey, I gotta back to work, but I'll be free in about an hour. Let's catch up.
I wave at Raven, then turn to Carl. Well, that was nice.
Bye, guys.
Well, that was nice. Didn't think I'd ever see him again.
Me neither, actually. I'll have to hang out with him more.
Yeah, but we'll only do it in this reality. If we do this in any other timeline, that fucker's not gonna appear at all.
Don't cross the streams.
No, that's unfortunate. I mean, I like Flynn, but having to put up with him just to get a ride up to their store isn't always worth it.
Well, anyway, if you're wanting to get out of here in an hour, we should probably get started. The process is a lot less painful than Carl makes it out to be. Soon enough, we're on our way to the food court, Carl carrying a bag way too big for the contents inside. We meet Raven again, and once we get our food, he suggests we eat outside. I look for my full combo meal to Carl's small, tiny container of tater tots. You not hungry? Carl shrugs and grins at me.
Just don't know the ways of the fatty.
Huh?
We're judged all the time, especially when we're eating.
He delicately bites a tater tot in half before adopting a sarcastic tone.
You gross. Of course he's eating.
That seems kind of unfair.
See? Raven thinks so too.
The Husky is in the middle of a huge bite of his Subway sandwich, his eyes on Carl. He swallows before speaking.
I can see that you're as self-deprecating as ever.
You know me.
So, Chase, are you still dating that wolf, Leon?
Leo and no.
Good. I like otters too. Squeak, squeak.
No, Raven isn't interested. I think Raven's like one of the few straight characters within the story.
The anomaly.
I ignore the sidelong glance I get from Carl.
Sorry about that. You two were really cute together.
It's hard to know what to say when people comment on your relationship. If someone isn't homophobic, gay relationships are usually cute or adorable.
So
or maybe it's just the size difference.
Not that size. One guy is tall and the other guy is short.
No, one
my
guy.
gosh,
is
Hannah!
I wasn't sure what they meant. I wasn't sure what they meant by size difference. And I'm just like, wait.
And if you want to like describe you better, I have some I can send you. It'll clear things right up.
Oh man. But seriously, I've always wanted to date an otter. See? Ha! Oh my god! Ha! Alan, my joke was true!
Alright. Well, be prepared for another joke that's coming up. Oh, really?
Yeah, they're adorable.
Swimming clowns. Do tell. Raven picks up on my sarcastic tone right away, but it doesn't even seem to faze him.
Well, yeah. You know what they say about otters and... Oh lord.
Carl almost chokes on his last tater tot.
The hell, Raven? You barely know him and you're saying that shit?
Carl's laughing, though. I'm sure to keep my face passive. Oh, and what do they say about otters and... Raven laughs.
Something wet.
You know, they never have to come up for air. 10 minutes, non-stop.
Raven giggles and then makes a visible effort to keep a straight face.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. It's just one of those jokes I... Excuse me. My voice just got dry. I can't be underwater for 10 minutes, unlike some people. It's just one of those jokes I always hear.
You can imagine I do too, and it's 8 minutes, by the way.
Oh, I'd take that too.
Carl crumples up a straw wrapper and flicks it off Raven's bluish-looking nose, to which he simply smiles. Carl stands up.
Hey, I'm going to the bathroom, Raven. Don't be a dick.
I'm not.
We both watch Carl amble off before Raven turns back to me, the dopey smile back on his face.
You're gonna be here, Chase. We need to catch up.
I wonder what catching up means when our biggest interaction up to this point was dissecting a shark in high school biology. Sunday. School starts up again on Monday. Despite having a head start on the project thanks to Carl's mom, I get a nervous twinge in my stomach. I still have a lot left to do. Voiceovers, B-rolls, and oh god, editing.
We should hang out.
His adorable excitement is barely contained, and I'm pretty sure
We
can
should
hear
hang out. Oh boy, we should hang out. I didn't realize that was like a puppy. We should hang out.
No, you're a
We
husky.
should hang out.
Nope, you're a husky. You're not a Labrador.
Oh,
that.
why not? Labradors are good dogs.
And I'm pretty sure I can hear...
Is that food?
No.
Oh boy, nom.
I will get that spray bottle.
Alan, in showing he also had a retriever, says, I will get that spray bottle.
Let me dig up the picture.
Of what, my dog?
No.
I'm pretty sure I can hear the thumping of his tail against the curb we're sitting on.
Aww.
Despite my earlier offense at his stereotyping of otters, I'm reminded of how much worse dogs get it. They're not common in Echo, or this side of the world for that matter. While otters are thought of as entertainers, I feel like it's better than dealing with being seen as a simpleton. So the main reason I'm here is to do a news segment on Neko for class.
Ooh, is it gonna be on TV?
I laugh.
Is it?
No, I mean, maybe. I could get it into rotation on college TV station, but otherwise, no.
Well, that's still pretty cool.
But my point is that it's kinda boring.
What? It's just a bunch of writing, or?
Mostly going through old stuff. Carl's family saved a bunch of artifacts from the old days.
Whoa, so you're like actually touching the old stuff?
Yeah. That's kind of a weird way to put it, but yeah.
That sounds awesome!
His outgoing nature is kind of infectious. I smile. Well, if you're really interested, I wouldn't mind having some help. It's not like Carl's gonna fucking help me.
That's great! I have the next 2 days off.
Well, isn't that convenient? Cool. We'll ask Carl when he gets back. It takes a while.
Stock in my company went way up, so you know.
No, that's in 5 years. This is 2015.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But hey, wait, we can play the system. We know what's going to happen. It takes a while for the ram to return, but when he does, he seems a bit reluctant to agree to the idea, which kind of surprises me. But eventually we convince him, and we make plans for Raven to come over the next day. We're heading out back to the car. As we're heading out back to the car, I nudge Carl, forcing him into a slight stumble.
Hmm?
What's up?
What do you mean?
I try to keep my tone light. You seem a bit down. Actually, you have all day. Carl shrugs. I nudge him again, and he giggles.
No, I don't know. It's just awkward coming out here and having you two just examine me like...
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, dude. Feels kind of weird is all.
I stay silent for a moment, wondering if I made the right decision in doing all this. Well, I'm just trying to help you out, you know?
I know, bro. It's cool.
Seriously, I've been thinking.
Your main problem is worrying about going out in public, like social anxiety. Whoa, now you're sounding just like Jenna.
Jella.
Tuesdays with Jenna. Wait, it's Tuesdays with Jenna. Fridays with Jella.
We get to my car, and he smiles at me over the roof while I unlock the doors. I feel like we can break through that. It'll help you out a bunch. Oh, well, never mind. I feel like if we can break through that, it'll help you out a bunch. I break eye contact as we both slide into our respective seats. And I think this job will be a huge part of that, so I really want you to get it. As I lean to the side to pull out my seatbelt, I feel something soft and warm pressed to my cheek. It only lasts for a second, then it's gone. I look over at Carl, but he's looking out the window. Did you just kiss me?
Yeah, bro.
Are you high?
No, I mean, maybe.
He giggles. So yes. Slowly I pull out of the parking space. If you hadn't made a move on me last night, I might have been a little more shocked. Where the hell did you get high anyway?
Alley behind the mall.
Charming.
Yeah, pretty sure I got a few needles stuck in my hooves.
We drive in silence for a while, Carl looking out at the desert scenery, while I squint out the windshield, trying to see through the hazy orange sunset.
I didn't mean that, by the way.
What?
Just thanks.
Sure. I don't know what else to say, so I leave it at that, and we drive along in pleasant silence. Carl still seems a little sad, and I can't pinpoint why. I'm hoping that it's just a phase. That by the time this interview is over, he'll be able to get past his anxiety, and finally be done feeling like a failure at everything.
Papaya?
I wake up to the feeling of a familiar numbing heaviness in my body. And yes, Papaya, was something wrong?
Oh,
No,
no,
we got you
just
now.
I was just switching from phone to computer.
Oh, okay. I try to move, tugging at what feels like a massive weight on my arms and legs, but all I can manage is to wiggle my fingers. It feels like someone's pressing down on my chest, trying to suffocate me. And something's in the room with me. I can't help myself. I open my eyes. A blood-red glow fills Carl's room, as if from a night light covered in blood. The sight would have made me whimper if I was able to make any kind of sound. My eyes flick around the room. It looks strangely empty. A lot more empty than I remember it. As if Carl was in the middle of a move and he packed up all of his toys and decorations. In fact, the only thing I recognize in his room is his bed, the blankets tossed back and empty. I'm alone. I hear a chuckle, right next to my ear, and then straight out of a horror movie. Whatever it is, it's right out of my line of sight, and I can't turn my head to see what it is. My heartbeat picks up, and I decide to close my eyes, knowing that nothing good will come out of opening them. It breathes heavily in my ear for a while, then stops. The weight lifts off my body, and I feel its presence leave. I sit up, opening my eyes again, and sigh with relief. But then I realize the room is still empty, and so is Carl's bed. I don't remember who says this.
Shit.
I'm just gonna pick something. Die! Something yanks me out of the bed, and suddenly I'm being pulled by both feet down the hallway. Down the stairs. Down the basement. Towards the crawl space. Into darkness. Furry legs crawl over my body and pinpricks pierce every inch of my flesh. I'd give anything to be able to scream right now. I gasp and jolt out of the paralysis. I wait a good 10 seconds before I convince myself that I'm really out of it. Carl's snoring loudly in his bed, one arm dangling over the side, while his belly rises and falls. I sit up and rub my face, wondering how the hell I'm going to get back to sleep after that.
I wouldn't.
Holy shit.
Yeah, Chase has some pretty bad nightmares. Either way, we made it to Friday, guys.
Whoa!
Yeah,
All right.
Right.
What are you doing down here? You are welcome. Get out of this house.
Hey, oh boy, it's fun to be here. You know, I dragged you into the basement and freaked you out. That was fun, wasn't it?
Oh my god, I want you gone. I'm gonna get a restraining order. This may be Carl's house, but I'm getting the restraining order.
Who cares, though?
Hey, is this useful?
No, we're gonna actually stop because I want to make sure the recording's fine, and also I think this is a good stopping point for a video. So say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.